the holdings over the long term, over 1 year, has just increased drastically. So people are not willing to sell. And I think all the people who sold, they sold over the last, let's say, 2 or 3 months. So the grayscale unlock period did happen. And the question is now, where should necessarily a selling pressure coming from?
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Weekly podcast, the show where we interview the top movers and shakers in the crypto industry. Today, I'm joined again with Eric Kasanowski, the co-founder and chief investment officer at Decentral Capital. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me again. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, always a pleasure, and really enjoy having you kind of on for our consistent market updates. So Eric, what's going on in the markets these days? I know we've had a pretty good rally in Bitcoin and some altcoins over the last month. What are you seeing in the market?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I would just go back to our last update, and I think we were pretty spot on that we say by mid of August, we are way higher than we were almost a month ago, where we are still at 29,000. So I think everything played out quite nicely. And yeah, I would just say a lot of data show that we are still in a very positive market. I think everybody around is reporting similar things, if it is Twitter, if it is other influencers. And I would also just say that we are still not going full steam yet. I think we are still, we went up nicely 50%. I think we will go in a little consolidation pattern. And I would say we close August positive with a green candle. However, September, I can say that we maybe even have a little bit of a cooler month. Maybe I'm just saying that we are dropping necessarily, but maybe just 2 or 3% with a red candle. And then once we approach October, November, December, I think we should hopefully see the rocket starting again and we reach our target of 100K.
That was the next question I was going to ask is, do you see Bitcoin ending the year at all-time highs, over and above the 65K that we got to previously?
I hope so. I mean, with every cycle that we have seen, let's say 2013, or even if you count in 11 and 17, like all the cycles got longer and longer. So, I mean, it wouldn't be even a surprise if we even go extend that cycle and go maybe into next year, 2022. It is all possible. And I really hope that we are closing way above the all-time high. Let's say if we would go to the end of the year and let's say, okay, we would make 65,000 by December, like it still would be over 100%, starting from January, what is great. But you still would need to ask your question, if all the fundamentals and everything is set up so strongly than it was ever before, and we only reach 100%, something is a little bit off. And we would almost need to rethink our investment thesis and say, hey, why is that the case that the crypto market would behave so weak in that sense? That being said, all the on-chain data, that a lot of other people are also posting, and that also what we are seeing indicates that the bull run is stronger, but I do not expect that it will have such a crazy gain as 2017 or 2013. I think it will be slower. I see 115,000 to 120,000 realistic, but I do not see it necessarily going above. Yeah.
It's funny to hear you say, 100% as weak performance in the crypto industry, but it's, extrapolated over 12 years, we've kind of averaged over 200%. So, interesting to hear it talked about like that. You said you suspect September to be a bit of a cooler month. Why is that? Is that just because we've grown so fast in the month of August?
Well, I mean, I almost say it feels like, let's say it that way, it feels like similar to last year. I think we had a nice rally up, and I think we are now in a level, especially with a lot of resistance above us again, like 47,000 to 52,000 is quite strong. And even when we have now few days, even where the Bitcoin price, I think from 47,000, went down to 44,000 over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 days. And it already made people nervous. They say, it's just a relief rally and, we will crash from here. And I mean, it's also quite possible. I think you always need to hear the anti-thesis from Bitcoin. I know that everybody is very bullish, but at the same time, what is if we are now in 2014 or 2018, where we just have another leg up and then we taper off for a little bit? Again, I do not think that is the case, because the fundamentals speak a way, way different language than it was in 2014 or 2018. But it is always necessary to keep a lookout for. Things can happen. What happened with COVID, everything has an impact on the crypto market as well as also on the general markets. And I think this is the reason why no one ever should also go all in into crypto, because even if it may perform later on, can you sit out a period of time without withdrawing money from your bank account?
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about the anti-thesis for Bitcoin. It's always important to kind of weigh the pros and the cons. What might you look at to be kind of an anti-narrative to Bitcoin right now? The first thing that comes to mind for me is the infrastructure bill in the United States, and some of the debate that's going on around the language in that bill.
It is like, I have to say, regulation can be, if it is overdone, very, very harmful, right? Not only for innovation, but also for the space in general. But I just think the biggest issue was the regulators are facing right now is just simply, they are using a law, like if it is the SEC and in the US or even in Canada where we are in, that is just written 100 years ago. And the thing is that even the internet or the computer, I think, they made their way around, but regulation is just very, very slow. And like they try to fit a new system into an old model. And I would just propose for everybody who is just listening, maybe from the regulator side also, to rethink. I think some of the laws need to get updated in a way that actually is in line with what is going on with our current innovation. And then we can make sophisticated decisions. I think it is just really harmful to just make a blank statement and forbid something or allow something in one or the other direction. I think there's a lot of really fine granularity in it. And this is something that we need to look out for.
Yeah. And I think it's such a difficult question, especially from the regulatory perspective, because the rate of change of technology always moves faster than regulation. And now we're seeing it grow at such an exponential scale. It's almost one of these impossible problems to regulate an industry that keeps growing so fast. And knowing that, knowing the 3,000 pages of the infrastructure bill, having to rewrite, laws in these new and kind of exponentially changing terms is such a difficult problem. And, something that we might need to just completely rethink the system in which these laws are created. It seems very difficult, but you can't solve a problem on the same level of thinking that caused it, right?
It is, and I mean, it's also the people behind it, right? I mean, I know that in the media, a lot of people were just saying, "Oh, he's anti-crypto or anti-Bitcoin or whatever it is," right? And I mean, some of the people, there is just a lack of knowledge, what we all know, but also at the same time, do actually some of the people represent the needs or the wants of the people that they got elected from in the first place, right? And I think there is clearly a drastic shift happening where a lot of the younger people are actually having a good exposure into cryptocurrencies in what form or ever. And I think we are getting close to 35%, at least in the United States and or Canada. And I think this is substantial. So, and the question is, does this need get heard from basically the politicians and people who are making the rules, or are they just, making business as usual and listen to other people they are getting influenced by or having other interests in mind?
Yeah, I guess that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day about, some of the, we can call it corruptness that happens in government. But it is a great sign to see so much of the younger generation starting to adopt this technology and really finding their voice to go talk to their politicians and speak out about what they believe in. It almost goes back to the point of Bitcoin being more of a religion than a technology. And people who adopt this religion, this sound money thesis, truly speak out about it. And it even what we saw with the infrastructure bill and how many people spoke out about that in the United States, it really shows how much of a voice the younger generation and the crypto native community really has.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It was really great to see that so many people stood up and took the phone in the hand and called
Yeah,
the line
absolutely.
to make a change. What I said, it seems like that. Unfortunately, the bill got passed in a way and now is moving on to the House. So I think similar things need to get happen later on in fall. But I'm not too fearful about the bill. I think there's almost a saying like you cook your meal hotter than you actually eat it. I think there's still a lot of room anyway to make changes and adjust it, and but still people need to be aware that there's something fundamentally wrong, and I think it has a big impact for the companies here if they will do further development in the United States or Canada,
Yeah,
or go somewhere else.
Yeah, let's move back to Bitcoin for a second. We were talking a little bit about, the reasons for the rally, some of the on-chain analytics, and what are the underlying pressures that are causing the rally, and why do we believe it's going to go so much higher than it is right now? Can you talk a little bit about what's happening from an on-chain perspective in the crypto ecosystem right now, and why we've seen such a great growth over the month of August?
Yeah, I mean, we still have this really strong accumulation phase of a lot of bigger people, and you can just see that the holdings over the long term, over 1 year, has just increased drastically. So people are not willing to sell, and I think all the people who sold, they sold over the last, let's say, 2 or 3 months. So the grayscale unlock period did happen, and the question is now, where should necessarily a selling pressure coming from? Again, if it is not an outside event of maybe something really drastically happened, that almost kind of a black swan event that we cannot see. And we see from other, let's say, companies like Coinbase or other bigger companies that more and more people coming on board into the crypto space itself, right? More people getting onboarded, getting exposure to crypto, buying crypto. And I would say even if institutions are not quite there yet in terms of the mass as we wish they are, I think more of them will pile in if an ETF gets approved. But that being said, also the miners now, I think everything has recovered. The miners did also stop selling their Bitcoin and basically hodling, was great. So, and everything has a supply shock. And I would say the fair price in regards to right now, where that the price and the supply comes more or less equal, is right now at 55,000, I would say. We are still a little bit below, but I think once we get momentum in, and again, it also picks up then later with altcoins, new announcement, new collaborations. I think it has the self-fulfilling prophecy, and everybody has the 100K in mind. And it is certainly it's a six-figure number the first time for Bitcoin, right? But it's something that is very strong. It will almost feel like a magnet. And I think stock to flow will be right. And the question is, when will we reach it? Is it still December, maybe January, February? But I still feel quite bullish that we see it in the near future.
Likewise. And I guess that brings up a good question about, is it altcoin season or is it Bitcoin season? I guess we always think of Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space as the market, right? Think about it like the S&P. Are you outpacing Bitcoin or are you underperforming Bitcoin? That's how I tend to base my investment theses. What do you think we're in right now? Is it more of a Bitcoin cycle or is it more of an altcoin cycle?
I would say we certainly were in a Bitcoin to large cap cycle in the last couple of weeks. And I can see that it maybe still continues a little bit. But that being said, I think we are slowly getting into the shift where altcoin takes over and perform better. Like we have already seen it in the last couple of weeks that, like Cardano, ADA, or some other did perform way stronger than Bitcoin. What I said, I think you will always find individual coins, they will perform stronger than Bitcoin, but I almost see it all in certain buckets, right? Like you have basically Bitcoin, large caps, medium caps, and small caps. And I would say in the next maybe 4 to 6 weeks, we will have that switch happening where the altcoins will be performing a little bit stronger than Bitcoin on a grand scheme speaking. And this will probably continue then also till the end of December.
Yeah. And one chart I love to look at when looking at altcoin versus Bitcoin cycles is altcoin dominance. So the percentage of the market that is made up of altcoin in terms of market cap and versus Bitcoin, right? And the all-time high we've gotten to in that Altcoin Dominance chart, I believe is around 65%. So 65% of the crypto market cap was owned in the altcoin space. Do you suspect that we reach new all-time highs in altcoin dominance near the end of this cycle?
I actually can see it. Yeah. I mean, there's also a lot always of talk happening. Will there be a flippening happening on some point from Ethereum to Bitcoin or in general? And I would say Bitcoin has its place and it has its use case and it will not go away. But I mean, in terms of innovation, new products, you know, if it is NFT, DeFi, I think those will be certainly big forces that will actually bring a lot of those altcoins to new all-time highs. And I agree with you that it will most likely go above and sets a new all-time high in the overall market cap as well for the altcoin space. Yeah,
I tend to share the same opinion. And if for nothing else, just the amount of innovation that has come out of the crypto space and how quickly the space continues to evolve. When we started in, I guess, 2009 or 2000, the early 2000s, it was Bitcoin and Bitcoin only. And then when Ethereum came along, we started to see this trailing liquidity starting to move into the, I guess we can call it the altcoin space. And now these applications are going from speculative to actual real world use case. And that brings even more attention to the altcoin market. And I think that's why we're going to see new all-time highs this cycle.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think also in that sense, also stable coins become more and more, important. Like I know that we spoke about TetherFAT, but I think, other altcoin, stable coins stepping up like USDC and such, just to give also a little bit of diversity, because one thing that we actually noticed from 2017 is when the price went down, or there was always a little bit of a correction, Bitcoin was almost the safe haven asset. Like it went down, but it went down in regards to altcoins or other ones way less. You could almost say by 50% less or so. And now that we had the recent sell-off a few months ago, where also Bitcoin went down 50%, it was not that much different to altcoins partially, right? It was almost on par, because people actually went in or stepped in and used stable coins way more as a safe haven asset than just going into Bitcoin. And this is also something to look out for in the future. So if you really think, you can time the market perfectly and do certain swing trades, what is absolutely possible. And, it's also what our business model is, but stable coins is the way to go nowadays. Like you cannot see Bitcoin as safe haven in that sense anymore.
Yeah. We talked briefly about potential of an ETF, and I'd love to hear your perspective on what are some other catalysts that you could see really catapulting the cryptocurrency market forward, aside from an ETF. And we know that's going to be a huge boon for the industry. What are some other catalysts that you could see potentially happening between now and the end of the cycle that might be, on par or large catalysts in their own right?
I mean, to be honest, the only thing that I can see that really is a catalyst is if we get a big announcement of bigger companies, like if really would make a statement and position themselves behind Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, whatever it might be, I would say this would spread a strong language and sends a signal to the market that a lot of other people can almost not ignore, a similar event to what Tesla did. But I just think we are not there yet. I have to feel that we will get some positive announcement, and I think it will be there. But I think we, in order to reach the 500K, or the ultimate maybe a goal is for Bitcoin and having a gold parity, I think we need those big players involved in, and they will come, but I think they will come a little bit later. And this is why we say only this year it can go to 100K through whatever announcement will happen, and also the hope of an ETF and other innovations coming from other projects. And I think this will be then a talk for another time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important to note that these large companies, they move slowly, they move methodically. They don't want to, make any big risks that could put their business in jeopardy. So, those are coming, but they're not necessarily all coming overnight. Same thing happens with national, sovereign treasuries as well. Exactly. And I think those are coming as well. let's talk a little bit about Decentral Capital. What's going on with you guys? How have you guys, how has Decentral Capital been growing, and what's new on your radar?
Yeah, no, I mean, we can say it certainly was a little bit quiet. I think I mentioned it last month, but the good thing is now that Bitcoin and the fear is slowly fading away from the market. We're getting certainly more contacts, we're getting more calls, we're having more onboardings, what is absolutely fabulous. And what I said, the great thing is that we did not lose any clients during this downtrend or the entire cycle, through the ups and downs, what is great. And with our trading, all of our clients are still in the positives now. And this is really great to see. And I think everybody is really happy. And the most of the clients we're actually getting are from referrals right now, because I think
Awesome.
the world is slowly spreading, and it's nice. And what I said,
That's
if everyone wants to get some more Bitcoin exposure or is a novice, glad to help out.
Absolutely. And as we both know, trading can be difficult, especially if you're not watching the market, 24/7 like we are.
Yeah.
It pays, because there's so much volatility, it pays to have somebody actively managing your portfolio. That's exactly what Decentral Capital does. And so, yeah, congratulations on the success of your fund so far. If people would like to get in contact with you or start using Decentral Capital as a service, how would they do so?
I would just say go to decentralcapital.ca. This is our website, and I think we have a lot of our products lined out there, what people can invest into, a passive portfolio to an active managed portfolio, or just simply a yield-oriented portfolio where you basically get 4% yield of your basically crypto holdings. I think we offer everything in that sense, especially for Bitcoin and Ethereum for a long-term investor, and make an impact on your portfolio and help with diversification.
Awesome. Well, Eric, always a pleasure having you on the show. I look forward to the next market update next month. And congratulations on everything you have going on with Decentral Capital. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Talk soon.